What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video I'll be showing you guys how to go and automatically harvest and collect honeycombs and honey bottles from bees. Now I do need to be honest with you guys, I already filmed and recorded this once and I realized my audio was not being recorded because I did not turn on my microphone, so that's why there's a second one over there. So I'm a little bit upset, but we'll go ahead and we'll push through that and we'll just get this done again. Alright guys, first thing you need to find out is where do you get bees? Well, you can go and you can find bees naturally spawning in new generated terrain, specifically in bee nests. Now you get a bee nest actually in a oak or birch tree, specifically in a plains biome, a flower plains biome, or a flower forest biome. Now you actually will need a silk touch pickaxe, so go ahead and pull out the silk touch, go ahead and collect the bee nest, and bring it back home. Also, it's probably recommended for it to be nighttime because you actually will want the bees inside the bee nest, and if you collect it without them, they will go ahead and they'll become hostile, chase you down, and also you just won't have the bees. So that just kind of sucks. So make sure it's nighttime, make sure they're inside. If you see them floating around, maybe try to give them a second to get back in. Alright, so now you have bees, so go ahead and actually be aware that you can breed bees with flowers. Go ahead and just both right click on them with flowers, and you'll get some baby bees. Now you actually will want your population a little bit high for our project here, because you actually do need about 3 bees per beehive or bee nest. You don't need that many, but it actually does help quite a bit. Oh, and also be aware that you can go and do this project with either bee nests or a beehive. And beehives are actually gone ahead and crafted using honeycombs. Be aware that shears will go and collect honeycombs from a beehive, and glass bottles will go and collect honey bottles from the same bee nest. So each time it is full, you have to actually pick and choose what you want. And when a hive is full of honey, it'll go ahead and be able to be tested with a comparator and put out a signal strength of 5, which we can then use to run into a dispenser to either collect it with an empty bottle or shears to get honeycomb or honey bottles. And that is actually all this setup is doing. It's automatically testing and collecting for honeycomb and honey bottles. Alright, and since this is actually my 3rd time building this build, I'm going to be smart this time and build it off the ground so I don't have to dig underneath, because boy do I hate digging. So for my design, I'm going to be using 4 beehives, but you can go ahead and you can use as many as you want. So you can go and you can tile more of these together, but just be aware the pattern that I'm using is actually going to require you to have a 2 block gap, then a 1 block gap, then a 2 block gap, and then a 1, and so on. And you'll see with the redstone why that is later. Alright guys, so go ahead and build an enclosure with your hives, and make sure there is plenty of flowers inside, make sure it's actually visible to the sunlight above, and make sure your population of bees is high enough to actually sustain all of your hives here. Because actually I did make sure I had more than 12 bees here, so this is actually at full capacity currently. Alright, so now that we have in our enclosure, go ahead and actually pull out some hoppers, and you'll actually be placing a hopper right here going directly down, and you'll see why in a second. So we're actually going to be placing our comparator on top of the hopper, and the reason for that is that in actually my old build I did notice every once in a while we would go and accidentally get honeycomb being left on top of the actual comparator itself, but it seemed to only happen maybe like 5% of the time, so just want to make sure for that 5% we are still collecting all of the drops that we're getting. The majority of the drops are actually going to land right here on top of the grass, and it's going to be collected with a hopper minecart underneath, so it should be 100% efficient. Alright, from the comparator, go and run out 5 blocks in one direction, go and place down your redstone. And as you can see with this one right here, we have a signal strength of 5, so this is actually full of honey, where this one is actually just full now. A second ago it was not, but cool, they're both full. Alright, I did the same thing in both sides. Now go ahead and come around back. Build out 2 more blocks and up like that. And you guys will actually want to go and run a redstone repeater directly into that block. And basically this is just allowing me to go ahead and actually have a full redstone signal once this back here reaches 5, so that I have more room to play with. Alright, next we're actually going to want to place a dispenser directly facing up into the beehive itself. So go ahead and actually come underneath it, and I'm going to place a block there. And I'm going to actually angle this dispenser directly up into it. And I'll actually do that for all the beehives. Alright, so now there's a dispenser underneath every beehive. Now we actually will want to go and automatically feed it with our tool of choice. And remember, the tools of choice can be glass bottles or shears. So go ahead and run the hopper line out. Since I'm using only 4, I'm actually going to have an individual hopper line per dispenser. But if you were actually going to tile this larger, go ahead and make sure you do split off the hoppers and actually go ahead and feed multiple dispensers with 1 hopper line. I'm going to place a chest on top of each hopper. And at this point, it's probably a good idea to go and fill up your dispensers. I'll be filling 2 with glass bottles, and I'll be filling the other 2 with shears. And make sure you do actually have your dispenser entirely full, because if there is actually an empty spot in the dispenser, your actual harvested item will go back into the dispenser. And since I don't want to filter items, and I'm sure you don't as well, go ahead and just make sure you keep them full. Alright, so at this point we are testing for a signal strength of 5 out of the actual beehive. We're automatically inputting our tool of choice into the dispenser. Now we just need to activate the dispenser when it is actually full. So to do that, to make it this easy, I'm actually going to go ahead and be powering the adjacent block to the dispenser. And by that, all I mean, instead of powering the dispenser directly, I'll actually be powering this block for this one and this block for this one. And that is just to go make the redstone a little bit more compact and a little bit more simple. So go ahead and actually run these lines through the middle. And because I actually don't want them connecting, I'll be doing a little bit of a zigzag method here, where I alternate between repeaters and redstone just to make sure that these do not connect. So I'm going to place the redstone down, going to place the actual repeaters down. And you'll notice every once in a while they connect on the sides. That's completely fine. We'll just actually have to place some blocks just like this to go and disconnect them. But now we come out to this point, we have individual lines running to each block, which will power individual dispensers. So pull out the platform about 2 blocks, place a block here, a block here. I'm going to need another repeater right there actually, and go and place some redstone like this, and like that. And you'll notice that these dispensers over here actually did go ahead and actually turn on, so we do have honey bottles inside that are waiting to be collected. So this is a fully functioning unit. I'm actually going to duplicate this on the other side for the shears, and I'll get back to you. Alright, so now at this point I actually recommend you going ahead and actually blocking up the comparators a little bit. And this is actually only to go ahead and minimize where the honeycomb and the honey bottles will actually go and be able to spawn out of the dispenser. We basically want to go and limit it to 2 options. We want them to either spawn over here when they're harvested, or we want them to go and drop there. Alright, and the only thing left to actually do is to go and actually build the harvesting system. So you'll actually want to go and build a little bit of a platform, 1 block directly beneath the actual grass, and this is where our hopper minecart will actually be running. So make sure you're actually not running the line underneath a hopper or a dispenser, and basically just go ahead and serpentine the entire thing, forward and backward, making sure that we do go and actually cover all the ground. Alright, mine looks just like this. Make sure you do run it into a block, and make sure that the rail running into the block is actually a powered rail. So I have that for both of them. Make sure you go and you power the rails from underneath or something like that. And you will actually need to go and pick a side to be the front. I'm going to pick this side over here, and all that means is I'm actually going to have to replace one of the blocks here with a hopper. So I'm actually going to place a chest right here. I'm going to break this block here. I'm actually going to go ahead and run this hopper directly into that chest. I need to replace that rail on top of the hopper. And just go ahead and fix anything you've broken. So now every time the hopper minecart actually runs over this, it'll automatically deposit its items into this chest. So I'm going to go and place down my hopper minecart, and as you can tell, it will go ahead and actually keep going forward and backward. It's picked up all the items we had in here, and it actually has deposited them into here as well. And we don't have to worry about overburdening the actual minecart itself, just because it does take about 5 minutes for each of these to produce a honey bottle or a honeycomb. So at no point should we worry about too many drops being on the ground that the minecart cannot handle. Alright, and the only thing left to do is to go ahead and actually take these last couple hoppers over here, run them together, and run them actually into the actual final chest. So I will just be running these over this way, back underneath. Alright, that's connected there. I'm going to go and extend these right here down a little bit. I'm going to access this chest from this side, and then just go ahead and run them in again. And then just go and actually pretty this up any way you like. I'm going to raise mine up here to the actual main floor. I'm going to block that up there. And I'm actually also going to place a trap door down just to go and hide it away. So whenever I do want to access it, just go and open it up. Right click on the chest and we have access. And I'm actually going to call that complete. So go ahead and actually pretty this up any way you like. If you went ahead and you actually saw my original builds, I was going ahead and hiding the redstone so that I can't accidentally break it. I went ahead and I was exposing some stuff to show you earlier, but basically I made a little pyramid. If you really wanted to, you can actually lower this down a little bit and have it go up on the sides again, just to make this a little bit more flush with the ground. But go ahead and decorate this any way you like. So if it was actually up to me to go and decorate this, I would just have something like this where the redstone is blocked off. I have easy access in the front to the actual harvesting mechanism. I have easy access to the chest where I'm actually going to be depositing our tools. I'd probably put a sign down to remember which chest has which tool in it. And the same actually goes for this side as well. And guys, that's actually about it. So that was actually a quick video on how to go and automatically harvest honey bottles as well as honeycombs using your beehives. So if you guys actually did enjoy this, please go and consider dropping a like. If you guys want to see more things like this, please consider subscribing. But until I see you guys next time, take care and bye-bye. Oh, and also go ahead and follow me on social media. Links are in the description. And check out my Patreon if you guys want to. I made one of those, yeah.